Hello world and welcome. In today's video I am going to take a look at Radiant Photo with a portrait. Now if you've watched the previous one I did where I used Radiant, I used DxO and then Radiant for a portrait, you will have seen that was a tricky portrait for Radiant. Not that it didn't benefit the portrait, but the auto functions didn't work quite as well. But then about a week later, and this video has been a little while coming, I was doing a headshot session. I think I did 10 people all in all. And at the end of that, I sat myself down in front of the lighting setup and kind of did a bit of a headshot for myself because I didn't have permission to use the other ones. And I ran that through because that's, maybe a lot more where we can see the functions of Radiant shine. And absolutely. Did it for the 10 images. Like I said, I did some basic processing. They were all quite decently well lit, so there wasn't a whole lot to faff with, and then I ran them through Radiant, and an absolutely fantastic job all around. The only thing I noticed, and it's an easy workaround, but it's just good to be aware of, is that I had one individual who had, well, I want to say, and I don't know why I'm picking this, but a sort of a more Mediterranean skin tone is what I want. I don't know. It's sort of an olivey colored skin, and it obviously messed with the color balance a little bit because all of the others kept the background. It was just on a gray background, just like mine. All of the others, it kept the background quite neutral, but hit that one, and it put a little bit of a color twist on it, a little bit of a shift. Now, not a big deal because you can just grab you can make some manual tweaks so long as you notice it, or B, you can grab one of the earlier, something like that where it's a common setup. Grab one of the earlier portraits and sync those adjustments across, and that would take care of any of that kind of color shift, I do believe. So, not a biggie, but have a look. It's quite a decent wee process and a great result, especially if you're doing a lot of headshots in a row. This would be a real time saver, and they come up looking really nice and let's say nice level of contrast and pop. So yeah, I think they came out great. So well done. I'm not going to do an outro for this one. I'll just play the video and then we'll get this out. I want to just get this. This one's been, I've had the screenshot bit of this filmed for about 2 weeks now. So let's get it out there. Cheers. I'm not doing processing in DxO for this one. And in fact, I did not do the headshots in DxO. I ended up doing them in NX Studio, which is Nikon's free software. I had been using, they've recently created a free tethering application. I've come off of Capture One for doing this sort of thing because Capture One, I don't love the fact that they changed their pricing scheme, that they used to have a Nikon version that I could afford, and now the new version is quite expensive. So I was looking for a new tethering situation, used Nikon's new sort of free, it's lightweight, but it does the trick, tethering tool, and had those plunk straight into NX Studio. And while I was there, I processed them there, and then actually I honestly found it really nice to work with for that kind of thing. I think for landscapes or other more complex images, I no doubt will stick with DxO, but I did really enjoy it for just a straight up portrait. So anyway, enough of that jibber jabber. I just dropped the JPEG output there, and I will bring that across. And this is a little bit more representative of what you can expect when I ran all of the headshots that I did through. So what can we see there? We can see that it has maybe brightened the skin a little. It's changed the coloration a little. You notice the shirt here. I have to say I'm not a fan of that, but we'll just look at a quick solution for that. See, it's kind of brought out a little bit too much detail there. which is not, you know, it's drawing sort of attention down there and it's lightening it up. But we can fix that, I am sure. Just going to go back there. So I'm in the detailed space. Again, if you just come in naturally, it's basically gone to the last place I've been. Very first time you load up, it'll come to Smart Editing, likely. But I'll come into the detailed space. And, you know, with this one, with many of the headshots that I did, I actually didn't do too much. There were a couple of them that I thought the color alteration was maybe a little strong, and so I brought that down closer to about 50, and I might go ahead and do that here. But no, actually, I'll leave it on 70 for now. But, you know, just a few quick little tweaks, and you're good to go on this. So you can see it's taken some of the red out of my skin. There's also this skin depth and bias, and I'll just put it on, it says odd, I'll put it on normal. And you see, let me take that off again, look at the black shirt. It's gone a lot blacker. See how lighter that is? It's gone a lot blacker. Now I'll check for more things. But one of the things the skin depth and bias does is takes a bit of red out of the skin, and I have quite red coloration naturally, so I often do try to tone that down just a little bit. I like, in general, especially on portraits, here, let me move this out of the way, I like a little bit of light diffusion. Just sort of softens transitions a little bit. I'm thinking for this shirt, actually, let me zoom back in. I've not tested this one, but I'm thinking for this shirt, if I come down here and increase, is that going to lighten it? Yeah, that's lightening it more. Okay, so that's not what I was thinking it would do. I thought it was going to take the blacks out of the mix there, which is kind of what I was hoping for. It's just it's lifted things, and whereas things were not noticeable before, now suddenly I've got bits that I would probably want to, you know, little specks on there that suddenly become noticeable that I would want to remove. But that's fine. So come back here. At this sort of zoom level, it's not too bad. There's maybe 2 or 3 that I would remove at this zoom level. Anyway, skin depth and bias, awesome. Exposure, it's just doing a little light touch there. That's probably all I would do in there. Color, contrast, no. I'll click on fidelity for good measure. It's all right. But the other major sort of thing that I probably would do in here is, I'm not too worried about, I think eye enhancement often, you know, just a touch of it often looks quite decent. I don't need auto red eye on there. What's this doing for my circles? Not currently much. Let me just zoom in. Dark circles. Yeah, so you can lighten those up quite a bit, but obviously I'm not gonna do that. But it does a pretty nice job. Obviously, that's maybe gone a touch far. Still, though, if you didn't watch it happen, you probably wouldn't pick that out as being too unnatural. It's quite a decent little tool. Dark circles a little bit. Face, I'll just leave that off. I don't really want to do any of those things. And skin, I don't want to smooth. Infrared removal, I like that. Again, it just tends to take a little bit of that red out of my skin. Go there. Blemish removal. Just see what happens. Yeah, no, I'm gonna leave that off. So I'll just leave the infrared removal on. So, but if I do a before and after, you can see that's actually quite a substantial difference. Does a nice job on the eyes. You know, sort of sharpens things up. I do usually, and I haven't done, just check where it's placed these. You know, and I was watching a webinar just recently, and it was talking about it. You know, basically, they don't need to be exactly on the eyes. You basically just give them a wee tweak if you want to change where some of the other effects are falling. But yeah, we can leave it like that. So yeah, before and after, and then just quickly save out. Click save. Really quick export and close photo. And just if I come back here, this is just in the Windows viewer. Just you can kind of get a sense for the difference that it's made. So it's actually darkened that shirt down a bit again. Like I said, I probably would come in and tidy up these little specks, which in the other version, I just don't notice them as much. They're probably still there. Yeah, they certainly are, aren't they? They just don't stand out as much. There's not as much contrast in there, so they don't pop out as much. So that's probably my bad. So anyway, there we have it. Like I said, I just wanted to show just an example of what that's like. It's super fast. Like I did, I think 10 headshots that day that I did the sessions, and I could just buzz through them really quickly. The edit in NX Studio also super fast, just because they were all just fairly straightforward. They were lit reasonably decently, and off we go. So there we go.